spent the past couple of years in a crazy hot market. Louisville home sales decline as demand outpaces supply. Effective communication is at the core of any situation. If you master these two ideas, you'll have a chance of being successful at residential real estate marketing. I think you need to be looking for investment opportunities that move the needle. The market will never crash if demand exceeds supply. This is what I've been telling you all along.
This is the Jay Pitt Show. And we're back, folks. Welcome back to the Jay Pitt Show here on Talk Radio 1080. Real news, real talk, real estate, at least on Saturday mornings. I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Ryan Harris. Ryan.
What's up, people?
What's up, man?
Happy to be back.
Yeah, no, always. You got a good show planned for us today. What we got?
Yeah, it'll be a little different. We're going to do a quick Louisville market update. Promise it won't be long, but we'll tell you what's going on in the Louisville real estate market. Going to talk a little bit about social media and posting if you're not comfortable. And we got a lot of sports. There's a lot of fun sports stuff going on right now. It's a fun time of the year. Football's getting close. We'll talk about the U.S. Open, Denver Nuggets, Messi, Novak Djokovic. And I'm going to ask Jay what's the best sporting events he's ever been to. And then after that, we're going to get into some technology stuff and software stuff. Yeah, so
absolutely. Well, and not to mention, we have our intrepid co-producer Marcy Humble with us today in the studio. She's giving me a interesting look right now. Sorry, Marcy.
Filling in.
she's doing a great job. I usually try to give Hannah some shout outs. Marcy has been a co-producer for quite some time, actually, since the beginning of the podcast, well before the radio show. She was always willing to fill in when we were honestly feeling our way through. Obviously, we have Jim with us now. A pro in the realm of radio production, where I guess you could say moving on up. But my content.
I don't think Jim wants to run 3 cameras pointed at us right now.
This is also true. My content hasn't gotten any better.
No,
right?
It has.
Just the production quality.
That's the diss at me right there.
No, I said my content, not yours. Ryan definitely brings the planning phase. I just spew venom apparently. Fight giraffes.
I'm still getting
a
lot of compliments from people, by the way.
Well, that's great.
People
man.
listen in. Some people that even tune in on Saturday mornings.
Dude, people, it is something I will say. And I've had a lot of real estate team leaders from other markets ask me about the radio show, ask me about our podcast. Listen to it from time to time and say, even outside Louisville, and say, hey, that's really cool that you do that. I don't think I could ever do it. And I don't honestly find it incredibly difficult to do what we're doing right now. The planning part, I would never do. So I certainly appreciate you for that, and teeing up, interesting topics to discuss. But you can pretty much throw real estate curveballs at me all day long, and I can just talk real estate.
Yeah, but I have a pretty easy job. What I will say I think helps us is having a time limit, because we could go 3 hours on some topics.
Sure.
And the time limit helps us get at least the main points we want to say out.
Yeah.
So.
And this is not Joe Rogan. Let's just be honest. We can't, we're not drinking bourbon in here and doing the other extracurriculars. And
as far as the listeners know,
frankly, I'm not that interesting. So you don't need to hear me for 3 hours. So I digress. Feel pretty good about this. I am anxious to hear what you got for me. So let's jump in.
Yeah. Let's just go over the Louisville real estate market. We haven't done it in a while. We realize, don't want to hear it every week, but sometimes it is important. So, let's hear what's going on.
Absolutely. Okay. So, funny that we mentioned Marcy. Marcy puts together this graphic for me every week. We have this monster spreadsheet where we catalog certain, statistics on a week by week basis. To me, it's always been quite telling to compare your feeling as a professional of a market with the specifics in the data and see how it marries up. What I've always said is that a lot of real estate agents tend to look at their individual business that is very small compared to the total addressable market, right? The TAM, and think that their independent small micro trends have something to say about the larger market. And it's just really often not true. Now, I've got a 50 agent team and a 100 agent brokerage. And even still, we are a very small percentage of the 6,000 person population of real estate agents in the market, right? And that's not even to take into account the transactions that happen off market without a real estate agent. So, but it's an interesting comparison nonetheless. I'm hearing, and the narrative is that the market's off, and the stats do agree. This week, 2023, we had the week ending Sunday, we had 385 new listings come to market. We had 228 closings. in the week prior. The same week last year, the market had 506 new listings. So 506 down 24% to 385 this year. 506 last year, 385 this year, down 24%. Closings, 302 last year, down to 228, down 25%. So as you can see, there's a almost 1-to-1 decrease in listings to market and new sales. That agrees with the feeling of the market that a listing equals a sale. There is no inventory, there is demand. So for the market crash hawks out there, the people that are expecting to see a market crash, it's not happening. It's not happening because demand still exceeds supply. I will say it, and I will say it, and I will say it until it's not true. But 25% decreases is a substantial shift. There are 25% less transactions spread across all agents in the market, and agent count is not down 25%. So there's some real estate agents starving out there. We are not starving. We are ahead of last year. Okay. And that's saying something considering we're right now in the place where rates started to jump and the market started to slow down. So if you look at the first half of 22, it's the most bonkers real estate market we've ever seen. Crazier than 21, crazier than 20. And for the first 6 months, RPP agents have outproduced in 23 amidst a 25% decline what they did in 22. And I am incredibly, incredibly proud of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can talk about some other things specifically, but, you know, frankly, we're just seeing the same stuff we've been talking about. It's not that notable.
Yeah. You know, you said your agents aren't starving, and that reminded me, I saw on Facebook you made a post. 19 of your agents have sold 3 or more homes
in the last 30 days.
In the last 30 days, but I was going to bring up the comment. Somebody made a real slick comment down there below, and it was very confusing.
I didn't really understand it, and it made me wonder if I wasn't clear. They said, oh, so 19 agents only sold 3 homes?
And this is coming from another agent who commented.
It's from another agent.
She knew what she was doing.
She knew what she was doing, and misreading on purpose my comment. It was very clear to anyone in the business what I was saying. And there were a host of other comments that clearly understood what I was saying that are not in the industry. And so I felt the need to give her about a four response thread on specifics, and, you know.
Yeah, those are the things that should really be covered in reality TV with real estate. Local markets.
Quite interesting. Anyway, for perspective, the average real estate agent sells 8 homes a year. And I had 19 sell at least 3 in a month. Our leading agent sold 6.
Wow.
We had 3 agents sell 5. Okay, you pace that stuff out. Now, the 6 is not going to last, but 3 is a pace that can be sustained pretty easily over the course of 12 months. So 36 a year is substantially higher. It's multiples higher than the average agent. So proud of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's jump into a question we had written in. This is a real estate agent who wrote this in, but they're also just an entrepreneur in general. So if there are any entrepreneurs out there that want to get into social media, this is going to be good for you as well. So they said, hey, Jay, I want to start posting videos on social media, but I don't know what to post. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. And even if I was, I wouldn't know how to edit them. Have any advice for me?
Absolutely. Let's take the first part. Don't know what to post. Post what you do every day. Okay. People enjoy the career of real estate is intriguing to people. What that is evidenced by the fact that there's 8,000, cable television shows about being a real estate agent. They over dramatize it. That's fine. Show the cool stuff. Don't show the bad, or show the bad stuff. That too. Don't show the milquetoast part, like, running comps.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to post a video running comps unless it's a montage.
It'd be pretty boring if you do that.
Pretty boring. But cool stuff, pretty houses, interesting, crazy stuff that you see, hoarder house, what have you, if you have permission, obviously.
Yeah, so it's basically behind the scenes. And I think that goes for any business owner too. If you want to start posting content, behind the scenes is really what everybody wants to see. They don't know how things are done or how things are made. They just see the end product. So if you show everybody what goes into everything you do, they're going to find that interesting. And then at some point, you'll probably film something that's pretty funny and might go viral.
Yeah. No, I agree. Post what you do every day. The most interesting parts, post it often. This kind of goes in line with the second part of the question. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. You have to get over it. There is no other way of putting it. You just have to get over it. Nobody likes the way they look. Nobody likes the way they sound. You know, we talked about at the beginning of the show, like I've been doing this for 5 years, and I cringe at myself sometimes when Hannah puts out videos of me that I say things that I'm like, oh God, why did I say that? It never ends. You never get over it. It does get better. It gets more comfortable, but nobody likes the sound of their own voice and nobody likes the way they look on camera. So, you know, get over yourself and do it anyway. And if you don't think it's interesting, somebody else will. Okay. If they don't, then they'll tell you. Trust me. The trolls come out for you all the time.
Which you also have to get over that.
Which you have to get over that. And, you know, my advice there is fight with them because that's fun. And people enjoy watching you fight somebody that's being ridiculous. So anyway, that's that. You know, as far as editing goes, go live. Go live. You don't have to edit live.
Yeah, I got a couple tips on both of those last two things, but we got to cut to a couple ad sponsors. But we'll be back on the Jay Pitt Show, Talk Radio 1080, Real News, Real Talk. See you in a sec. Welcome back to the Jay Pitt Show. I'm your co-host, Ryan Harris. This is Talk Radio 1080. So we were just answering a listener question asking about, hey, I want to start posting videos on social media. Don't know what to post. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera, and I don't know how to edit. And we were given some answers. We answered the first part, and Jay started answering the second part of not being comfortable in front of the camera. You know, I have some tips there. And the first one is you don't have to talk in the beginning of your videos. Like you don't even have to say anything at the very beginning if you don't want to. You know, I've started posting videos where it is POV style, like day in the life, where I set up my camera, my phone camera is all I use, set it up different parts of the room and just get little snippets of the day and edit them together. And I don't say anything, just put some music over it. And people like that stuff. And that's something you can do for behind the scenes. It's not hard to do. It does take a little more time. It feels weird because you got to shoot a shot walking upstairs and then take the camera upstairs and you view yourself walking up. So it can be weird. But there's different ways around it. And, you know, another tip when you're on social media scrolling, don't just be on there for entertainment. Be on there looking for ideas and you'll get a lot of ideas.
Absolutely. There's a few accounts I follow simply for inspiration when it comes to video creation and topics. So a lot of times other real estate, you know, professionals around the country may not be like in my market, like speaking to my potential client base, but they have committed themselves to video. And, you know, if I know we're filming that day, I'll pull up in the morning when I drink my coffee, those accounts, and I'll just scroll through their last 15, 20 videos, you know, just to get ideas. Sometimes I'll even send those videos to Hannah, our video production person, saying, I want to do this. I want to do this topic. What do you think about this shot? What do you think about this transition? Can we do this? And that begins a conversation between she and I about what we can produce and what we can't. And I think, you know, imitation's the sincerest form of flattery. So if I see somebody else doing it well, I know what looks good to me. I want to recreate it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, let me know what you think, Jay, but I would say 99.99% of content online now, like not 100, it's not authentic. Like it might be authentic, but it's stolen or they get ideas from somebody else. It's not original.
Well, rip off and duplicate is like the mantra in the industry, right? Nothing is novel anymore. You know, I heard a stat once, and this was probably like 2015 or so, where there is more video created, more video produced every single day from that date forward than was previously created in history prior. That's the exponential rate at which content is being produced. I can only imagine what that looks like today, 8 years later, right? So the point is, having a novel idea is really challenging. So why don't you just find something that you feel comfortable with, you identify with, that someone else does, put your own spin on it and move forward? Because I never do it exactly like those other people. I do it my way.
Right.
And I am unique, right? I know I am unique to myself, my character, the way of doing things, the way I talk, my inflection, all those things. Do that. Just do that, but do it your own way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then the last question, how to edit them. So I think this is a great question for Jay and I both to answer because we're both on two different ends of the spectrum of how we do things and the money we have to put towards those things. So I use CapCut on my phone. If you really don't know how to edit and you don't have a ton of money to put behind anything, it's an app that you can use on only your phone or an iPad. It's called CapCut. Makes everything super easy. Yeah, you'll still have to learn things, but you can YouTube any question you have. Yeah. So that's how I do it. And then Jay has a different way, which he can tell you about.
Yeah, I like CapCut. It is pretty user-friendly. It does have a learning curve, like anything, but it's very powerful for what it is. And, you know, if you don't have the budget to put towards a professional media production person, then but you do have the time and you have the inclination, then that's a great alternative. I have made the investment in my business for quite some time to have a video production person on staff that will produce, because my time is more valuable spent in other ways, and my desire and the volume of content that I want to produce exceeds, right, my appetite for producing it. There's no way. I know myself. I would spend hours and hours. I probably would never be as efficient even as you are, even with the same amount of time invested in learning, just because that's not who I am. It's not what I do. I could make it work, but I'd be better off negotiating deals or recruiting agents or solving problems.
Yeah. You know, I've always wondered, Jay, have you ever thought about doing a daily vlog where you just have Hannah follow you around for a day, like once a week?
Yes.
It'd be pretty entertaining.
Yes and no. So you're talking like Gary Vaynerchuk style.
Just like riding in your car and maybe you have something to say, or you're on the phone. I'm sure we'd have to bleep out a lot of the words. But
there's some of that. I could be good for a day. I could be pleasant and not have to deliver the curse words. But yeah, I have. I don't know. That's something I hadn't gotten myself entirely comfortable with. Maybe I need to take my own medicine by telling folks to get over it and just record video. It's something that I could do. Honestly, I wonder how interested people would be. But that's probably a limiting belief also, because I know a lot of people would like to be where I am in the business, and they would probably like to see it.
Interesting thing about people, though, they just like seeing into anybody's lives, even if it's not that interesting. Like a lot of these vlogs or daily or day in the lives, like these people aren't that interesting. It's just like human nature to want to see what other people are doing throughout their day.
Very voyeuristic. That's a like kind of a core trait that a lot of people have.
Yeah, it's like a real version of reality TV.
Yeah, no, for real. Maybe I should look into it.
But all right, let's move on. So we got a lot of sports stuff. Let's start U.S. Open. So we got the third golf major of the year, and it's at LA Country Club. You been following any of the news leading up to it?
Not really. I mean,
of course, all the news now is LIV merges with PGA Tour, which doesn't seem like that's what it actually is. It's more of PIF merges with PGA Tour. Nobody really knows what's going on.
Yeah, the thing is, you know, I think about our local interest here, right? Like, you know, JT being a local guy, being a holdout, staying with PGA, showing loyalty, whatever reasons he had. I presume that those are some of them. I'm obviously making assumptions, but is one of the top stars in the game, and resisted him and Rory and others. And I just wonder, like, if they're jaded and jilted by the fact that, you know, all those guys chased the money, took it, right? Didn't sacrifice much for it. And now they get the same opportunities that everybody else. Like, I almost feel like you have probably a scenario brewing where there's like some type of holdout in the future, where you could see some of the stars that showed the loyalty to the PGA saying, look, we resisted, we showed you loyalty, and now you go merge with the people that you told us to resist. I also think that it looks fairly poorly on PGA management, because they made allegations of, you know, human rights violations and things, and just completely reverse course, or showed that the almighty dollar is really what wins. And unfortunately, so they were either genuine about those concerns or they weren't. And right now it looks like they weren't.
I think it's easy to say that. Yeah, and I'd say the trust is completely lost between the players and the tour. But what I think everybody's got to remember is nobody knows what these LIV contracts actually look like, and if these players got paid out all their money right away, or if they get paid out every year, or how that goes down. So maybe they haven't got all their money yet. They've probably got a lot. So
I would imagine if they're not getting paid, it would have been public.
Yeah. Oh, they're getting paid.
You know, I mean, I'm sure there's confidentiality and all this stuff, but those details have a way of finding themselves into public view. Yeah. If there are issues. So I don't know. I mean, it will be interesting to see. It's nice to see all the players united, despite the fact that you get to see them in the Masters and you get to see, you know, it's nice to see all the players united again. You never want to see a fractured game with some of your stars in one place and some of your stars in the other.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good tournament. A unique one. It actually started today. Have no idea who's leading, but you know, most of these players have never seen this golf course. It's ultra private, like just behind Augusta. So hard to get on. You're not really allowed to take pictures on the golf course. Homa holds the course record there, Max Homa.
Yeah.
And then I'd say Scotty's a favorite if he can figure out the putter. And I'm sure everybody's been seeing the videos of the rough going around where people just drop balls in it. I think those are incredibly annoying videos, but
yeah,
that's what's going viral.
Well, I've seen the viral video, and like, I mean, my game is not, you know.
Well, they just go find rough. Nobody's taking a step on the thickest area, and like, oh, this is everywhere on the golf course.
Yeah,
but they try to make it seem like that.
No, I get it.
So, all right, Denver Nuggets, NBA champions.
So question for you is Jokic, is he an all-time great?
Not yet.
Because that's what you're seeing the question posed on all the morning shows right now. You know, the guy is incredible. He is incredible. But I think you got to do more.
Well, it's as soon as somebody wins one, the headlines the next day are, if this team doesn't win three, they're a failure.
This is also true.
It happens with any team that wins for the first time.
Yeah, no, I agree. So the celebrations, Denver? Like, I didn't think like we're going to get that in Denver.
Oh, everybody living there is always looking for a reason to party.
Well, right, but they're also kind of chill. Like the extracurriculars that you would think makes it a little chill, but I mean, maybe I'm out of touch here.
It didn't seem chill. Did you see Aaron Gordon going in the streets?
I did hear about that. Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then Jokic finding out about the parade on Thursday.
Apparently was not happy.
No, he found out and he was like, I just want to go home to my horses. It's like all he cares about.
And lost the MVP trophy. Like, it brings back memories of the Super Bowl trophy being tossed from one boat to the next, from Gronk to Brady, and Brady just being absolutely wasted on that boat. Like, I just think, like, how do you lose an MVP trophy?
You know, some of them knows Tom Brady is a very good actor.
He
like in all these commercials, like I could see him doing a big acting role at one point. Yeah. But we got to cut to a couple ad sponsors, and we'll be back talking about Messi, Novak Djokovic. This is the Jay Pitts Show, Talk Radio 1080, real news, real talk. See you in a sec.
Welcome back, folks, to the Jay Pitts Show here on Talk Radio 1080. I'm your host, Jay Pitts. So we were talking sports before the break, Nuggets championship and all the kind of crazy that has ensued. Now I think we're gonna move on to some other sports. We got a little Messi news. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, real quick though, I want to point out. So they said the NBA championship is the highest rating in 5 years. So average of 5.47 million viewers per game, which sounds great. And NBA is doing better, but the Super Bowl last year had 112.3 million viewers.
Well, of course. Here's the thing. The Super Bowl is an event. It's one day. A lot of people get to make time. It's an event. People have parties. You don't have parties especially not for a weeknight, 7-game series.
Maybe if you're in college, you have a party for every game.
Yeah, maybe.
Just insane. NFL runs the world.
The NFL absolutely runs the world. I saw a random comment. Jen and I are flipping channels the other night. We never do that. Never watch cable anymore. For some reason, I pulled up. I probably need to cancel YouTube TV, but I pull it up and we end up watching Family Feud. Steve Harvey is hilarious, by the way. Hilarious. So I'm watching Family Feud, and it was one of the topics was on Family Feud is out of 100 people surveyed, what do you think men cite as their most watched sport? And obviously the first answer was football. What is your guess on how many out of 100 the number one answer was for that question?
So I'm going to take a guess, but I don't always believe what they say the numbers are. I'm going to say 84.
It was 85. Literally, you are one off. 85 out of 100 said football. Number 2 was basketball, and it was 5.
Wow.
Number 3 was baseball, and it was 3. Golf did not make the top 5.
So here's why I don't believe this. Golf must not have been an option because football's only on a certain part of the year. Golf's like most of
All
the
year
year,
round.
and you're going to turn it on Sunday and take a nap.
So funny. My wife said that. She said, how many dudes they don't actually watch it. They just sleep during golf.
You sleep the first 9 holes, wake up for the back 9, and
Make a drink.
My wife now loves putting golf on TV Sundays. She's been taking golf naps. So
That's funny.
yeah, it's been great.
Wait about 6 weeks, Ryan. There are not going to be too many golf naps in 6 weeks.
Yeah, well, I hope it's like 8 or 9 weeks still.
Is it 8 or 9? Okay, I don't know. I was thinking a little sooner than that.
But all right, Messi.
Yeah.
This has been in the news. It was all over Twitter, so hard to escape it if you're on Twitter. That's a pretty big deal. He's going to Inter Miami.
Yeah, I mean, this is David Beckham-esque, right? This is his introduction into the American.
Who's a co-owner of the team.
Yeah, of Inter Miami he is?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so I knew he was a co-owner of one friend. I was thinking it was the LA Galaxy because that's who he played for, but apparently not. So yeah, this is an entrepreneurial move. This is a marketing move. This is not an I want to finish my career winning more championships as the best player, as the GOAT, right? He's not concerned with being the GOAT. He's concerned with being a billionaire. That's what he wants. And supposedly was offered $1 billion offer, but a salaried billionaire versus an entrepreneurial billionaire, you tell me what's more important.
I would say he's still considered the GOAT, or could be. I mean, he just won a World Cup. He's done everything else he could in all the other leagues. So this is the money move for him, though. You're right.
It absolutely is. It's the ownership. It's the equity move. It's not like he's trying to be Michael Jordan, right? Right. By the way, did you watch Air? Have you seen Air?
Not yet, but I've seen previews and it looks awesome.
You need to see it. It's free on Prime. So I watched it. I took a golf nap. Instead of my golf nap, I watched Air while my 3-year-old napped and my other kids were doing a couple things a couple Sundays ago. So incredible. I won't spoil it, but to say that Michael Jordan negotiated the best business deal in the history of sports with Nike is an understatement. And so obviously,
and his mom was a big part of it, right?
Huge deal, and it really goes deep into that in the movie.
That's
so
cool.
Incredible. And you learn the behind the scenes characters, Matt Damon's character, you learn a lot. And it's pretty incredible the way that it happened, because I did not realize, even though it was my era, right? I was a young child at the time, very young, and grew up with this. I didn't know Nike to be a basketball shoe. I never didn't know that. It was that was my reality. I was 3 years old when he came out of college. And so Nike was the basketball shoe my entire life. And I'd heard stories. I read, Shoe Dog and Phil Knight's memoirs and all that stuff. But, and he talks about it, but I didn't live it. This in living color shows you. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, that's sweet. But part of the Messi deal, so he turned down the Saudis. They offered him $1.6 billion for 3 years, which would have turned out to $533 million a year they were going to pay him. And in this deal, so there's some interesting stats to point out. So as soon as this was announced, they gained 6 million new Instagram followers on their team's Instagram, saw a 4,500% increase in merch sales, became the third best selling team on Fanatics, and saw a 1,200% increase in ticket prices.
Wow.
And then I thought this was pretty interesting to see his contract breakdown and like what it is total per year per month. So it's $150 million total for 2.5 years. So he's getting paid $60 million per year, $30 million for half a year, which comes out to $4.6 million per month, $1.1 million per week, $164,000 per day, $7,000 per hour, and $114 a minute is what he's making. And this isn't like, you only get paid for 9 to 5. This is 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty incredible. Pretty
Yeah,
incredible. It's a big business move is what he's doing. It's not a salary move, but the salary is phenomenal. It's an entrepreneurial move.
So I saw Broke Agent Media wrote an article about how it's going to affect real estate there. And they're already getting all kinds of calls from people from Argentina who are frequent visitors that come there, but now people want to buy property there because they want to come to all these games. So it's going to have like a huge, they say, real estate impact on Miami.
Miami's a perfect market. Florida's economy is doing very well. So I all signs, this is all lights are green. So just hit the gas pedal. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah. And then the last two details on the deal, he gets option at part ownership of the team, and he gets a cut of the revenue from new subs to Apple TV's MLS season pass. So that's probably where he's going to get paid the most.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But and then Novak Djokovic, sticking to sports here, won a French Open. I think he's the GOAT now, which is weird to think about. I don't think anybody thought Nadal and Federer would get edged, but he now has 23 Grand Slams, one more than Nadal, 3 more than Federer, and I think he can win the last 2. He has the Grand Slam of the year.
I think it's kind of crazy to think how dominant tennis has become. Like, parity has been the trend in every other major sport, right? Parity has been. Domination has not happened. But you look at these guys, and this is not one Tiger Woods, right? This is 3 Tiger Woods, back to back to back, with about 4 years removed from each of them coming into prominence in their own right. I mean, basically, you got Federer was king for a good half a decade before Nadal emerged as a worthy adversary, and then
he had all their battles against
and then you had
each
their
other.
battles, and then you had the 4 or 5 years where Nadal was edging Federer, and then Djokovic came along. And I may have that slightly off, but that's the perception of being a mild observer, and it's just pretty incredible. Like 20 majors.
I wonder if people think Djokovic isn't one of the. Now, I know there are people that think Djokovic is one of the best, but I wonder if he kind of gets forgotten because he doesn't have a rival there. Like, Nadal and Federer were rivals going at it all the time, and I feel like Djokovic never really had that.
No, he didn't.
And you kind of need that in a hero villain.
He's just decimated everyone. I bet if you looked at the time frame, it took him to amass his major championship. It was probably a shorter time frame. I'd be interested to look into that. It's funny also. Andy Murray was really good, and he's not even on this list.
Yeah,
you don't even hear his name.
Well, and Djokovic, missed a couple of years from COVID, didn't have the vaccine, and wasn't allowed to play, and
didn't care
majors for a couple of years. So he could have a few more than 23. Really,
yeah, pretty incredible.
But all right, I have a question for you, Jay. I thought this was a fun one. What's been the best sporting events you've ever been to? I'm sure you've been to a lot. I have mine, but I'd love to hear yours first.
Right. So first that comes to mind was the Ryder Cup here in Louisville. The patriotism, if you will, right, for the American squad. Tiger was playing. It was just it was great being at Valhalla on Sunday. A local boy, from Campbellsville, Kentucky, clinching the Ryder Cup. Long players trying to drive greens and doing exciting. It was just amazing. And the European, fervor for their team. It was just really cool. They come all this way to watch this team. And the the Ole chants and stuff, it really just got you excited. That was probably number one. Indy 500 is really cool. Been to the Indy 500, been to the World Series, have not been to a Super Bowl, have not been to an NBA championship, but the World Series I saw the Reds sweep the Oakland A's when I was 10 years old.
That's cool.
Stayed up what seemed like all night. Didn't have to go to school the next day. Obviously it's in October. My dad took me. That was awesome. Sat in the nosebleeds in old Riverfront Stadium and watched the Reds, beat Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco and, Jose Rijo and, Billy Hatcher and Eric Davis and Paul O'Neill, those guys, which is really incredible because I was always a Reds fan growing up. So I would say the World Series.
Speaking of the Reds, they have a little life in their organization for the first time in a long time.
Ellie De La Cruz is something.
Yeah.
Did you see the call on his first home run? That ball has a family. Dude, I was dying. Dying. We'll
talk more about that when we come back. Let's cut to a couple ad sponsors. Once again, this is the Jay Pitts Show. I'm your co-host, Ryan Harris. This is Talk Radio 1080, real news, real talk. Stick around, and we'll be back. Welcome back to the Jay Pitts Show. I'm your co-host, Ryan Harris. Talk Radio 1080, real news, real talk. just saw you looking over there at Marcy, and I was like, is she sleeping maybe?
Maybe.
Is that what
maybe
you're
not.
looking over there about?
No, she's switching. She's trying to make us look good. Shout out to
Which is hard.
Shout out to local company, local startup Switcher Studios. Like that's who we use to record. Multiple shots of Ryan and I. If you go to the our YouTube channel or what have you, and look at our video version of the radio show or podcast, you'll see like a continuous stream where we go back and forth in between Ryan and I. So. That's how we grab a lot of the stuff here. It's also a Bellarmine grad that founded the company. Pretty cool stuff there. So Marcy's over manning the switchboard, if you will.
Yeah. So we were talking
She's
about.
not asleep. There's no way she can switch and be asleep.
Can't fall asleep listening to us, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. If you go back and you watch it on YouTube and you see a shot of just one of us for like 40 minutes, even when the other one's talking, that means Marcy fell asleep.
Anyway. All right. So talking about Ella De La Cruz. I'm mad at myself for not going to watch him more at the bats.
I did not see him at all.
Big mistake there.
Dude, he's an all-star.
Yeah.
He's
easy.
an all-star.
So it was cool. It was cool. He got his home run ball back, and that guy brought it to him and got all his boys' pictures and signed baseballs. Pretty awesome. So
I was up there and I watched him play the Yankees, which is really cool to watch interleague play when the Yankees come to town. It's the Yankees. Something about certain franchises, I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan or a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but it comes to certain franchises, there's just nostalgia, right? The Yankees come to town and it's pretty awesome to watch. And, of course, Aaron Judge in right field is just an absolute man-child, almost look at him and think, how is a person that big and that athletic? My son is a big fan of Aaron Judge. So we were up there with his team. We watched him play. They lost, but it was fine. But Ellie De La Cruz didn't play. He wasn't up yet. He was in Louisville. And I kept saying, we need to go watch him. And we just never did.
So I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this, but I have a couple of buddies that work at a company here, and they went to a wedding. Somebody in their company invited them to. And I guess he's a baseball player maybe, but Aaron Judge was there. Oh. And there was some other baseball players, and they took their phones, and you could only use them in this circle area, and they would only work in there. And yeah, they were snuck a couple of videos and sent them to me. He is massive. He's huge.
Dude, I watched him play in Houston a couple of years ago. It was actually really cool. I got to watch, Jose Altuve hit a walk-off against the Yankees, and Altuve is probably my son's favorite player. And, but Judge is just,
that kind of hurts me a little bit.
Well, I know everybody calls them cheaters, but Altuve he likes his attitude, his swagger, and Altuve is just that guy, he does not care. And he hits bombs, and he's a small guy. But, we sat in right field, and Judge is just so big. We sat on the right field line, down second or third row, and he just walked out in front of us, and you're just looking up, how's a man this big? He just is.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, all right, best sporting event I've been to. Yeah. I got to say, the last game ever at Freedom Hall.
I was there. That was good.
It's pretty sick.
Kyle Keurig was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Not only did he make 12 threes or whatever, they had an amazing dunk in that game.
He had a few. That was amazing. And then I got to see Andre Agassi's last tennis match ever at the U.S. Open.
That's cool that you say that. I was thinking more like venue and team when you asked the question. Yes, the very last game at Freedom Hall might have been the coolest atmosphere that I've been a part of.
We weren't very good that year either.
No.
I don't even think we were ranked when we beat them.
We were much better than last year. That year.
Oh, well. You can say that for every team.
Yeah. I saw a chart the other day about college basketball efficiency in terms of revenue per win. Louisville, we make a whole lot of money for only 2 or 3 wins in a season. I can tell you that.
So we were still fourth in the list for most revenue.
We're fourth in bottom tier in terms of wins. Man, it was so funny because it was one of those graphs. It's like a XY axis, and it had the little logos, and we're top left corner, by ourselves. Oh God, so bad.
So
hope we turn
those
that
are
around.
mine, and man, I hope I get some more like that.
Dude, I have a thing. I want to go to every major league stadium.
That'd be cool.
I've been to a lot. I've been to probably more than I haven't been to in terms of cities. Now, it's over the course of my life, so some of the stadiums are not there. I've been to 3 different stadiums in Atlanta, right? So, 2 in Cincinnati. I've been to actually both Old Comiskey and is it Comerica Park? I don't remember wherever the White Sox play now. I've been there, but I've been to Comiskey before that. Been to multiple stadiums for a single team, and I've been to a lot of cities, but it's cool. Before the end, before my days are over, I'll have gone to them all.
Yeah. So I guess another one I went to the old Yankee Stadium the last year.
That's cool.
So it was cool.
I've been to new Yankee Stadium. I never made it to old. I made it to Shea before they closed Shea, and I've been to the new Met Stadium as well. But
awesome.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right, let's head out from sports with the last few minutes we have. I'm sure everybody by now has seen the Apple AR VR headset they released with their last keynote. It looks like, I don't know, snowboard goggles. Looks pretty cool, but you know what everybody's been talking about, though.
Well, the price, $3,500 or whatever. But the weird thing to me, do they expect you to wear them around? Because you can see through, they're transparent.
So it's more AR than VR. They can be VR, but it's more augmented reality. So
it's Google Glass, essentially.
Yeah, just much bigger
and better,
more
presumably. Powerful.
So something interesting about the price and this pricing theory I've heard with Apple. If you think about the iPhone, when it first came out, it was right around $1,000. And people are like, oh my goodness, this is so expensive. Yeah. What Apple does is they price for the future.
Yeah.
So they price for inflation and price for what people are willing to spend later on. So their early adopters will still buy it.
Of course.
And as the years go on, that price is going to look better and better and better, because the new iPhone, I just got a brand new one, got upgraded storage, and it was $1,250. So not that much more than when it first came out.
It came out in 2007 at $1,000. It's gone up 25% in 16 years.
Right.
So, I mean, I get it. I think it's really smart, to be honest. And obviously, Apple's the most valuable company in the world, so they get what they're doing, right? They know, like you said, the early adopters pay whatever, and they know they're going to move few units because it's a new concept. It's not a unit game yet, so they're looking to ride that J curve that is going to ultimately come.
Speaking of that, I just saw somebody sold iPhone 1 never opened for $63,000.
I heard about that. Pretty incredible. I had an iPhone 1. I used it like crazy. I think it ended up under some snow and got ran over by a car or something, but I probably have the box. Are you guilty? Do you save your iPhone boxes?
I used to, and then
you saw somebody make fun of it and you throw them all out?
Well, I said, you realize you're growing up when you throw all your Apple boxes away. Like, that's what teenagers do. And like kids, they keep their Apple boxes, but
that's funny.
You're growing up when you throw them away.
I've probably got a few extra laying around that I need to throw away now, but I threw a bunch away not that long ago.
So yeah. Another thing I want to point out about this AR VR headset is, in all the years Apple's been around, when they do a new keynote and release their main new product or a new product, the CEO has always demonstrated or held it or put it in their ear, the AirPod, or put it in their pocket or in their back pocket. They've always held on to it and done something with it. And this is the first time ever they've never touched it or done anything with it. It just sat beside them on a table and there was a video playing.
Why is that?
That's what everybody's kind of asking. Maybe it doesn't really work yet. I don't know. Yeah. It's just something I found interesting, and when you think about it, if you've ever seen any of the other keynotes, they are always doing something with their iPhone, showing, just sliding in their pocket, or just like how easy it is to have on you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. I don't know that I'm ready for augmented reality. I'm not going to walk around with skiing goggles on my face, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, a watch is one thing. It's not intrusive to how you live your life. We all somewhat brand ourselves by the gear that we use and the way that we dress. And I just find it a little more challenging to strap something to my face and walk around and have people stare at me thinking I'm so cool for wearing a $3,500 set of ski goggles.
Have you ever seen that person at Crunch with the Oculus on?
Yes. He works out in the...
Oh, so I've seen a lady do it.
Oh, no, it's a dude. I see a dude. And he's like really, like, I'm like, bro, don't you have a basement? Like, do you have to do this here? So like in the gym with people watching?
That's what I think stinks about the Oculus and VR is you have to have this big room. These, you won't need that. I think AR is way more practical than VR.
I agree. Like I try to wear my son's VR headset every once in a while, and it's like it like shakes and buzzes when you like about to run into something, which is cool that it can do that, but it's odd.
Yeah. Okay. I got one really quick question for you. Let's see if you can come up with it in the last 45 seconds. And it's just based off what we were talking about earlier. What's something you start to do that makes you realize you're getting old?
Oh, Lord. I can fall asleep in literally 60 seconds.
So I got this question from another podcast, and that was one of them.
I can literally lay my head down on this table and be asleep in 60 seconds, and you can't stop me. Nobody can. Jen will talk to me, and literally I will be asleep. I will say something, and before she can respond to my question, I will be asleep.
Yeah, this person I got it from was part of my take, Big Cat. He said, I always wondered how my dad was able to fall asleep so quick, and now that I'm a dad, I can take 10-minute naps anytime. Anywhere.
Any time of day. It doesn't matter how much caffeine you got in you. It does not matter. Just sleep. Boom. That's it. All right, folks. I think that's about all the time we got for you today. We appreciate you, as always, for joining in. As I said earlier, check us out on YouTube, all the socials. Find us anywhere and everywhere. J Pitts, at J Pitts Realtors, some of those things. You can find me. Google. It's all good.
You can find me.
You can find me. Had somebody ask me for my email address the other day, and they said, don't worry, I Googled you. But yeah, we appreciate you engaging with the show. However, keep those questions coming. Check us out every Saturday morning here on Talk Radio 1080. For my co-host, Mr. Ryan Harris, this is Jay Pitts. We'll see you soon.
Peace.